friends.
We saw a film.
Oh my god, we saw 6 hours of film? Something like that. I'm very tired. Very tired.
Okay, this is going to be
How
pretty
are
short.
you?
It's going to be pretty short because Omega's tired. Well, I'm tired too, technically, but I'm going to have to stay up to extract this from the camera and convert it and then upload it and then patronize it before I go to bed, and I'm getting picked up tomorrow morning. So, because I'm going off to write.
All day. I'm not going to sleep all day because I want to go out and go running, so.
I'm going to write.
Because I had ice cream tonight, so you know how it is.
I'm going to write possession episodes.
So, what's the crack, audience?
Okay.
So, the spoiler-free part first.
Not perfect. Very, 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 very good. They stuck the landing.
Very close to perfect.
The MCU is probably officially the greatest entertainment thing in film history.
Alright. Now, one thing, because you know that I always like to go the social sciences philosophical route. I was thinking back to the spring of 2012, before we were married.
Oh, when you were all like, I don't want to watch
When
Avengers.
I was taken to go see the first Avengers film. And you know what you should do in the description box below? Link. Can you do annotations anymore?
No.
Not links. Oh, link it in the description box. Because I put that vlog, I filmed it on my iPhone. I had a primitive iPhone. And I filmed it in 1970s vision for some reason.
70s.
Because it was an app that I had.
I was very, very proud of it.
But I had never seen any of the... Actually, no. I saw Iron Man. I had seen Iron Man.
And you were complaining that, there was
I was like, I don't know who these people are. I was supposed to be drawn in, and I wasn't. I wasn't a comic book person. And in the last 7 years...
You were annoyed there was no arc or anything
I was like, who the fuck are these people? And in the last 7 years, I have become a comic book person. I never read them when I was young. Not that I wasn't allowed to have them, it just never came up. And that was a part of geekdom that I was always kind of bullied by other geeks, and surprisingly never men, always women. And
she's recently been reading Doctor Strange Comic Omnibus.
I was a student ambassador, and I did a talk for visiting guests from other countries, and the marketing team gave me a £20 voucher for Amazon, so I got the first Doctor Strange collection, like the very first issue and all those other ones, and I'm reading them, and I was thinking back while the credits were going on. There's no post-credit scene, by the way, so don't waste your time.
There's none.
That in the past
it's shocking, really. 7
years, Marvel, the MCU, has made me a comics person. And that's really impressive, because wasn't I just whinging 7 years ago?
And
this was supposed to draw people like me in, and it hasn't, and now it has.
And so I guess I am vindicated on our arguments about that film.
Okay, so anyway, spoiler-free, go ahead. Now that I made my main point.
Well, I already said my spoiler-free version.
It's really great. Everyone gave their all. Like, you know how I always say in these vlogs, you can tell when the cast was having fun, you can tell when they were phoning it in, you can tell that everybody really gave everything for this, and it showed. And even just cameos, even just people that you're like, hey, that's so-and-so just walking by, everyone gave their A game.
So many characters are back.
Yes. So that's the spoiler-free version. There's a Stan Lee cameo too, and it's nice.
Yes, Stan Lee is playing 70s Stan Lee. I think they used the digital youthening on him because
so great.
I have seen photos of Stan Lee in the 70s, and he was being 70s Stan Lee. This is 70s Stan Lee in the era when Stan Lee openly wanted to play J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man.
Fantastic.
And it's like, oh, that would have been glorious. I got the feeling they probably dubbed him with someone else because he was he was a bit sick whenever he was filming his last cameos, but very nice.
Okay, so spoilers. At this point, you know that there's going to be spoilers, and after this, just turn it off if you don't want to know. Just save the headache. We would never say anything on social media. So that over with. I was sad at the people that we lost.
Because we did lose people.
But the people they got brought back, I was pleased in the way that they were brought back.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's not like make everything fine and just undo everything. They basically partway through there's a 5-year jump, and then everything's not so good, and then they bring the people back, but they've lost the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So they're just there, and at the end of this, and the world is sort of rebuilt with a lot of people back. It's like a reverse Rapture movie.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to think about it.
I'm clever, that's why.
Yeah, it was not your, everything's back the way, it wasn't just like a reversal, it wasn't like a Doctor Who, like, we've gone back to before that and everything's
It wasn't a Russell T Davies sort of season finale.
And that's good, because that would have been cheap.
Yeah.
That would have, there's a part in Dragon Age Inquisition, and spoilers if you haven't played it, but come on, it came out in 2014 by now, so spoilers, it's not my fault. But where you end up a year, the Inquisitor end up a year in the future, where the Thetis has already fallen to Corypheus, and armies of demons are just all over the south, and Empress Selene has been assassinated. And you find Liliana, who has been being tortured, horrifically tortured, and she hasn't broken. And finally, when you and Dorian are going to jump back into the past, now that you know what's coming, and he's trying to do the ritual, and she says, you have as long as I have arrows, and she starts speaking the chant of light, and it's really affecting, because before that, Dorian tries to say, oh, well, don't worry, we'll go back in time and fix everything, and this world will never have happened, and she's like, that's great for you, I've already suffered through it. And so, like, that, everything felt like it, Dragon Age didn't cheapen the fact that Liliana had suffered that. And I feel that if they had just brought everything back and everything's grand and it's status quo again, I feel like it would have cheapened everything all the characters went through.
Yeah.
That was a really long story, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, it's not what you came here for.
And now the action scene's amazing. Everything, all the stuff you're expecting that to be good is good.
And more, and more. Like, you'd be cheering. People were cheering. Everybody was having a great time.
Yeah, like unexpected cameos. Like, you've got Sitwell and Brock Rumlow are back. You've got the other guy who played KG Beast in Batman vs Superman's back. You've got Donald Pierce is back. You've got the Ancient One turns up. You've got Hank Pym. You got youth and Hank Pym and old Hank Pym. You've got he doesn't turn up. They got a mention of Zola. You got Natalie Portman's back. Rennie Russo's back. If you notice, I've just gone over to the actors' names now for some reason.
And it's just everybody.
They even got a cameo from my favorite Japanese actor, Hiroyuki Sanada.
It's Hiroyuki Sanada. I go, right. And then the whole play, I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to know who that is? Like, was he from Kill Bill?
He was Ryuji in the original Ring.
You know things, and
he is amazing because he can make anything sound really deep voiced and dramatic.
Well, he was dramatic in his thing.
He's really good at that.
But
especially speaking Japanese, I've seen him speak English, and I'm not interested in him speaking English. I don't care what he's actually saying. It's just he makes Japanese sound like Klingon. He is so good.
And the final climactic battle, I'll not say much about it, but if you've ever played White Wolf's Werewolf the Apocalypse, when they ended the World of Darkness, the old World of Darkness, there was a source book for Werewolf the Apocalypse that came out, featuring the rallying speech that Margrave Yurikasenko gives, and to everyone assembled on the last battlefield to fight for Gaia against the forces of the Worm. And part of it ends, even if we are destroyed, they will be looking over their shoulders for the rest of time, afraid that we will somehow find our way back. And then you begin storytelling the final battle, and that's kind of the gravitas that the climactic battle had. Because there had to be a climactic battle. I mean, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like they assassinate Thanos in the toilet or something.
And I am very,
very... pretty funny. Reaching out a big... You got any paper? Ah!
There is the meme that became popular a few months ago.
Oh, I with his butt.
With Ant-Man getting up his butt, yeah.
That doesn't happen. There's no
I'm glad that unlike Infinity War, because one of my main problems with Infinity War with the final battle was they didn't have air support, just shooting that hole in the force field, and then so the guys on the ground take on whoever gets through that, and they didn't have the wizards turn up. In this one, we got the fucking wizards.
Yeah, just
I'm glad.
Fucking everybody.
You got the wizards, you got the Asgardians, including I don't know where Valkyrie got her Pegasus from.
I was wondering that myself, but I'm figuring maybe she could
genetically engineered it.
Maybe she could call Pegasus from somewhere.
She called it from Greek mythology.
Maybe one of her blasters has a little flute in it, like the dragon's.
Yeah, but it's for a different mythology. It's this is what.
No, because she was riding.
I know in Ragnarok, but the Pegasus is Greek. I don't know why Waititi put her on a. And she's actually in a Pegasus in the comics, I think too.
Well, there you
go.
But
it still doesn't make sense. Although in Marvel, ancient Greek gods are real too. They're making Hercules is going to be in a movie, probably the Eternals movie.
As long as he's not played by Kevin Sorbo, I'm grand with it.
No, but he's like Hercules in Marvel Comics is basically Thor in Thor Ragnarok. Thor in the other MC films is Thor in the comics.
Okay.
Give him like Elizabethan English, and that's basically him.
Okay.
But Thor Ragnarok, that is Hercules. So but he's also bisexual. So look forward to that in the future.
Oh, there's so many bits that are gonna make MRAs and raging fan nards angry. So happy.
Now as expressed in the film, the time travel doesn't make sense.
See, you're gonna go off on time travel, and that always makes my head hurt.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, because they say we're gonna go back and we're gonna take the stones, we're gonna use them, blah blah blah, to undo the snap, and then we're gonna put them back so that it's not gonna make any changes. However, because the ancient one points out, because the ancient one turns up too, and points out that you take the thing. This is creating a divergent reality, parallel universe.
She's Tibetan this time. No, she's not. I was fucking with you.
And it's like, that makes sense, because they're changing history. But then they go back, if they go back and put the stones back when they were taken, then that divergent reality doesn't happen. However, quite big changes happen, because there's 3 jumps. One jump goes to New York, so they're going after the Mind Stone, the Space Stone, and the Time Stone, because they're all in New York. One's going for the Ether and Asgard, and then the other one's going for the Soul Stone and
the one that was
the Power Stone.
Yeah.
So, however, the one going for the Power Stone and the Soul Stone, that one makes massive changes to the timeline, regardless of whether you put the stones back. Because, for one thing, Nebula shoots herself dead.
Yeah.
Old Nebula kills young Nebula. Thanos, from that reality, ends up in the future and ends up killed with his entire army. So that creates a huge parallel universe. Probably the best parallel universe.
There's also the New Jersey jump as well.
Yeah, but
that was one trip.
That's inside that one. That's like a sub-jump. But the New York one also creates a slightly branching parallel universe, probably because Loki runs off with the Tesseract.
That's fantastic.
So that's probably where the Loki show is going to be, I think, maybe. But the space jump one, that reality clearly is going to be much better than the other ones, because no Thanos. So it's going to be, and Gamora leaves from that reality and goes into the future, because, Gamora's staying dead, but her past self from a now parallel universe is in the future, and she's all disgusted by Quill.
It's fantastic. She needs him in the balls.
Twice.
She missed it the first time. She gets in the second. The emotional punches are as punching as you could think that they'd be. We saw a girl that I used to work with at the bookshop. I was just like, I can't stop crying. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be okay, don't worry. I was actually pretty good. I just had like the one solitary tear going like this during an emotional funeral at the end. But
I did not have any tears.
Well, that's because you're soulless.
No, that's the elf guy who wants to destroy the veil.
No, I mean, you never cry in movies.
Really?
Well, not that I've observed you to.
You've never seen me watch Jason X.
No, I haven't. You're absolutely right.
You should amend that.
And I was the time I cried most in a movie was my bookseller friends took me to see Atonement, and I hadn't read the book. I just knew it was a bestseller. I was sad, and I was crying at the end. They were like, "What? No, why are you crying?" I'm like, "It's really sad." They're like, "Yeah, it's sad. It's about World War II." I was like, "I thought it was like the lighter part of the war. I thought it was like the happy ending."
I thought it was like Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, or like Fetch the Midwife or something like that. No, Call the Midwife. Well, you know what I mean. One of those twee, like Nadine Dorries-esque, like, sure wasn't it grand back in the war when everything sucked, but we were all innocent and it ended happy, so wasn't it grand?
She's a cunt.
She is a cunt, though. She was viciously homophobic and transphobic. She's a real bitch.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, you don't need us to tell you to go see it. You already bought tickets. Like, you know.
And, so, Iron Man ends up dead. It's a spoiler
but
part.
I think that was pretty predictable, though.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, we figured either Iron Man or Captain America would die, and then the other would probably retire.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Well, we knew that even if Captain America didn't... That Captain America is the title and the shield, not Steve Rogers, because I know that Chris Evans said, like, a year and a half, 2 years ago, that after this phase, he was not going to be... Steve Rogers would not be Captain America anymore, because Chris Evans was retiring from the role. So we knew that. So we knew
Yeah,
that...
Robert Downey Jr. was making noises about that too.
Yeah.
So we figured one would retire, one would die, and that is what happened.
And quite honestly, it fit perfectly.
And it even manages to fit, because if you remember back to Winter Soldier, Agent Carter, they don't explain who they have. We know that Agent Carter got married at some point. But we never found out to who. And then during Agent Carter, there's this guy who, you're meant to think she's going to end up marrying. Because in Winter Soldier, she says that her future husband was one of the men that Steve Rogers rescued in World War II. And, this guy who's an Agent Carter, it turned out to be one of those guys, so you're like, oh, she's going to end up marrying him. No, he gets killed. It's like, okay, that's confusing. And then in this, Captain America goes back in time and has, ends up with Agent Carter in what looks like the...
Late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, so this must be right after Agent Carter was set, and they end up they get married.
And it seems like they imply that they live their whole entire lives until she dies, and then he returns to the future old.
Well, no, he didn't return to the future. He lived. He got there the long way.
Oh, that's a good point. So he knew where to be at the time.
Yeah, it was basically like Blink in Doctor Who, but
that was sad.
I think that's a really good ending for the character.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shortchanged for that, and some people might be like, Captain America would never give up the fight or whatever. That's not his character, and I'm like, we go back in time and what's to stop him from being in S.H.I.E.L.D. and fighting people, because in comic canon there was a Captain America in the 50s. In the original one, it was Steve Rogers. However, whenever Stan Lee came up with the comic, he took on communists and stuff, and it became very, very quickly unpopular, and it was cancelled quickly. But then Stan Lee came up with the Frozen idea, and it was retconned that the 1950s Captain America was this crazy conservative who got a bad batch of serum and basically went insane. And he got a different title later on. But this could be the MCU version of that character, where Steve Rogers becomes like... They can't call him Captain America because they were like, there wasn't a Captain America in the 50s, but you could call him US Agent. There's any number of Captain America spin-off names
you
could give him.
You know what it made me think of? It made me think of the end of the original Men in Black.
Yeah.
When he gives Kay the life that he gave up on, or that passed him by.
And young Kay was played by Josh Brolin, who played Thanos in Men in Black 3. I mean,
props to Josh Brolin, he's a good actor, but by the end, I was like, stop talking, Thanos. Jesus Christ. He talks more than a philosophy professor. I was just just one of those guys on Twitter just wants to keep, explain. I had this big thread this morning, because our friend Mars Girl has been, dealing with some real abuse on Twitter, and I was like, hey, you guys, this is why this is bad. And then someone started arguing with me, this is a vast generalization. I said, of course this is a generalization. I'm talking about morals in the human race. It couldn't be more of a generalization. And they, look things and stuff, and I was like, look, I'm about to go see Endgame and Infinity War. I don't have time for this right now. I'm going to link you to the Oatmeal's comic on cognitive dissonance, and that's that. Meaning for that to be the end of the conversation. And we're sitting there in the cinema, because we got there early. And this person's all yeah, but see, I don't get it, because I'm like, no, stop. And that's what Thanos reminds me of, that person, or you're all drunk at the end of a party, and it's just great, you got the TV on, everyone's just talking shit. And there's always that one person that decides this will be a fine time to bring up the death penalty, or their views on abortion, or some other horrific view that they hold. And you're like, where did this come from? And they just want to keep talking, and you're drunk and kind of feeling sick, and you're like, how do I escape this? That's what I kind of felt like by the end. Shut your fucking purple mouth. Stop talking. To quote MST3K, Johnny Longbow, stop talking. But yeah, no, I mean, he did a good job.
Yeah. You know what film you've seen Josh Brolin apart from that?
Wasn't he Cable in Deadpool?
Yes, he was. But, for years and years and years ago.
I don't know.
The Goonies. He was, I believe he was Mikey's older brother.
I don't think I've seen The Goonies since I was in my teens.
Oh,
no. Whoa! I'm old.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, as much as you like. I've seen it. That should be enough. So there. We saw trailers. There's going to be a new Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, Fast and the Furious is
They're just going. They're just running with it. Just whatever. What the fuck? We got
the movie version of Saints Row, where it started off fairly grounded and just got sillier.
Yeah, they'll be in hell saving Christmas next.
Awesome.
What else?
I haven't seen any of those. At some point, we could do a marathon.
There's not a Godzilla film coming out?
Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then they're doing Godzilla versus King Kong, and then there's a mooted Pacific Rim crossover.
Yeah, apparently people who were involved with Pacific Rim are involved with that.
Yeah, it was the same studio, Dimension Studios, but it's really bizarre that the Godzilla verse is it's one of the more successful cinematic universes because they got Godzilla. They got
It's going on for yonks and yonks and yonks.
No, this is just the new
right.
Godzilla cinematic universe. That you got the Godzilla movie from several years ago that starred Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver as a married couple, which is pretty funny.
Weird.
Quicksilver, who's in real life married to the director of 50 Shades of Grey, bizarrely. You got that. You got Kong Skull Island, which was awesome, and it had no reason to be, but it was. And now you got this, so they're doing very well.
And what's this new trend recently with trailers where they take some like classic song, like for the trailer for John Wick 3, it was Dream the Impossible Dream. For Godzilla, it was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but it sang in this kind of weird trancey way with like awkward pauses between verses. And
you
I'm
just noticed this is a thing, or
no? I've been noticing it more and more, but the fact that we saw two trailers like that juxtaposed just kind of hit him. What's that called, and why is it happening?
I know that like a year ago, Oral Knots of all people, they did a how to make a movie trailer thing where it was basically a trailer for a movie that doesn't exist, and that was one of their things. Like it was like caption coming up. Start off with a famous pop hit that's been sort of remixed in a
weird dreamy way.
Yeah,
like Full Human or Lindsay or H-Bomber Guy. Could you do like a video essay on this? Because I feel like
you just need to watch the Oral Knots video.
Thing, but I'm not clever enough to break it down. So if one of you guys could do that, that'd be really great.
You just got to see the Oral Knots video on it because it just gets everything across.
I don't like the Oral Knots.
I know, but this video is literally like 3 minutes because it's meant to be the length of this fake trailer.
That's true. I just feel like their jokes go on for far too long.
This one's the perfect length for you then.
Yeah.
And their version is You Spin Me Right Round, Baby Right Round.
And then, like, we had heard that there wasn't a post-credits sequence, but we stayed anyway.
I'd heard that there was. I'd heard there was going
to be, and then there was nothing, and everyone was like, what the fuck?
It's like, very nice work, guys, trolling us.
Right.
Yeah, I'd heard that there was, that it was going to be like some sort of like video celebrating the 10 years of the MCU, or 11 years of the MCU, but nothing. I'm a bit sad that they didn't do something indicating of the X-Men, because I would have been, because that was finalized, so...
We got a new trailer for Dark Phoenix, which...
That's better than the other ones. Still doesn't look good. I wanted to see something indicating that they got X-Men. Like... someone saying, "Oh, Mr. Fury, Professor Xavier's here to talk to you about the mutant problem," and then like all you see is like get back of someone's bald head, as Samuel Jackson says, "Ah, Professor," and then then cut, and that's it.
I said this while we were waiting to go in, or we were sitting in the chair, and I was like,
or a news person being all just I
just feel like the mutants really don't. I know that they are from the Marvel universe. I know that that's a thing from the comics, but I just really feel like they are so different. They really belong in their own continuity, quite honestly.
I don't think they belong in their own continuity for that reason. I think they should have their own movie continuity for a different reason.
Yeah.
Because there's so many X-Men, there's so many teams. It's basically almost a half of the Marvel comic universe is X-Men related. So I think it's healthier for it to have its own thing, so they have their own films coming out. So rather than having one film every 2 years, you have like 2 or 3 a year, because they can handle that many films.
Or it could be like how the Lego Marvel stuff is, just how Doctor Doom turn up at the end and be like, Nick Fury, I have knitted you a flex, and
yeah,
here it is.
They're gonna put Doctor Doom in there as quickly as possible. Right. They're gonna start making references to Latveria.
Who has the rights for Deadpool?
Deadpool is Fox.
Okay,
so he's coming over with X-Men.
Okay, so that was part of the merger.
And MCU has said that they're going to continue Deadpool as it is.
Oh, that would have been a great post-credit sequence. Just Deadpool just sitting there in the theater chair, sobbing with Yukio and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and she's like, "Are you crying? Stop it, you're embarrassing me." And him and Yuki are just looking oh my god.
I am still sad that Deadpool 2 did not end with a really crap sort of a green field of some sort, and then Deadpool appears in because he's going through time, and then there's some sort of battle going on outside, and he's yelling about, "Don't worry, Cap, I'll get the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos," and he leaps off screen, and then everyone's like, "What's going on? Who the hell's that?" And he goes, and then you hear the sound of something getting chopped off, and then Deadpool runs past the camera holding a bloody arm. That would have been the funniest.
What else? I'm trying to think. I had other points while I was watching the film, but I forgot now. Oh, Hawkeye's haircut is horrible. He looks like an angry lesbian. Like, it really does not look good. Like, because he's gotten some, I mean, I know everyone's aged some years, and he's got some pudge about the jowls and the chin at this point, and so he really did look like an angry lesbian. I mean, I gotta
say, the controversial Thor makeover, if it wasn't for the fact that he is very, very, very pudgy, his look in the final battle would have been my favorite look for Thor, because I thought since for fucking years I wanted Thor to have very long hair. I wanted him to have a long beard, braided beard, sort of dwarf style, and we got basically that. Like, they didn't like my.
It had to have been a fat suit though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Admittedly, for the cape wise, I wanted to have some. I wanted him to have some fur in the cape, but getting there.
Yeah. I saw Valkyrie again and Korg. That was great. Fucking love Korg. He's my spirit animal.
Taika Waititi might be a bit annoyed because he cut off Thor's hair. He got rid of his eye, gave him an eye patch to make to be able make him evoke his father. He did all this sort of stuff to him, and then the Russos were like, "No, we're getting rid of all that, and we're putting the other stuff back, and we're making him fat. Now you can make Thor 4. Ha ha ha."
He can do what he wants.
Because he is apparently working Thor 4.
But if you've come thus far, you deserve this. We all deserve this. And I know people are gonna be saying, because I have a friend with some leftists on social media who are already going on about like, oh yeah, it's so great Disney got everything in Fox. You can have everything you ever wanted, and everybody will be oppressed forever. And corporations aren't your friends; and they'd kill you if they could, sheeple. And I'm like, yes, but I was happy.
Corporations won't kill you if they can. They want money from you, and the most efficient way to get money from you is to not kill you. Unless you get more money by killing you.
I'm paraphrasing hyperbole, but like everyone who's like, oh, did you enjoy Avengers? Well, I guess you enjoy living in the corpocracy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I gave
Disney owning everything is absolutely fucking terrible.
I know,
Still makes her a fun film.
I feel really bad when I'm like, I feel happy. Like, and I play a video game. Like, even though it's a AAA video game. Because I've been watching a lot of Jim Sterling and I can't say it like that. I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't be having fun. I shouldn't be enjoying this. People died for this. I'm a horrible person because of capitalism.
Someone died for Deadpool 2.
Yeah, that's some person. Or like, I don't eat pot noodle, but if I ate pot noodle and I was eating a pot noodle, I'd be like, I gave a company money for this pot noodle and I'm a horrible person because of capitalism. But Avengers was still good.
Any reasonable communist will tell you that you're living under capitalism, so you have no choice but to partake in capitalism.
I'm an academic, though.
Yeah, you have no.
Doesn't that make me special?
No, you've got.
No, that means because I'm not making money off of capitalism.
No, but you're living in a capitalist system, so.
Well, I don't know.
Any reasonable one will tell you that it's not your fault for you're existing in the system that you're in.
I liked Avengers, and I paid money to see it.
Yeah.
Although we did support a good company because there's a Ben & Jerry's stand at the Brunswick, and they had a light kind, and I've been doing a lot of running the past week because I want to look good at a wedding I'm at next weekend, and so I got a Ben & Jerry's sundae, and they're actually a good company that have been like. This past week. Wait a second. Have you ever noticed how all the people getting rich off of legal marijuana are white, but everybody convicted of possession is black? Yeah, we noticed that too. Let's do something about it because we're an awesome company that are good. And I was like, well, that's a good capitalism.
They like giving away free ice cream on one day a year.
I had it was chocolate chip cookie dough chocolate cookie dough, so it was chocolate ice cream and cookie dough bits in it, and it was light allegedly.
Yeah, if every
like a caramel sauce on it.
If every company operated like Ben & Jerry's, I got the feeling that people would be a lot of people would be less pissed off about capitalism.
Yeah, but anyway, you should probably pay Disney money and see if.
Well, you're gonna probably anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, this is okay. It's official. The MCU has replaced Star Wars as the popular myth thing. Like,
we were having this whole conversation on the way over, and then the cab driver was like, "Are you going to see a film?" Because I didn't want to interrupt you.
Like for years now, I've been thinking it's getting there. I'm pretty sure it's arrived. Star Wars has been dethroned as the cinematic popular mythology of the world. I don't expect the MCU to have its throne for as long as Star Wars did. Star Wars may well claim it back. But at the moment, MCU is the new Star Wars.
You know what we didn't get, though? And everyone was joking that they wanted it, and I thought they'd give it to us. The MCU thus far, as summarized by your man from Ant-Man.
That would have been so good.
Right. So, me and my cousin...
I also hoped for seeing the destruction of Xandar. From what had happened during Infinity War.
I probably was too expensive.
Apparently that was planned at one point for Infinity War. That would have been a really good opener.
But apparently Xandar's fine now. Spoilers.
I wouldn't mind, because Jon Favreau, who directed Iron Man, he plays Happy Hogan. And Kenneth Branagh is an actor, he directed Thor. And the Russos, because Taika Waititi's an actor, and he directed like Thor Ragnarok, and the Russos, they direct, but they do cameos, like one of them cameoed in this. I want to get all the MCU...
As a gay guy.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting.
I want to get all the MCU directors who act, just to be in a scene together. Don't draw attention to it, but, just have some sort of, like, thing where it's just all the parts happen to be played by them.
Just like, eating in a restaurant while, like...
Yeah. I think it would be pretty funny.
Alright, well, we've got about a half an hour of 31 minutes of vlog, and the file might split. So, I'm going to go to bed.
And I'm going to go to bed probably in about an hour.
It was beautiful. It was wonderful. But you don't have to tell us that. We don't need... You know what I mean. It's beautiful, but what isn't? You owe it to yourself. You deserve this. Go see it.
And there's a very big question about some of the upcoming shows on the Disney thing, because Falcon and Winter Soldier, well, we know what's going to happen when that's set, but Scarlet Witch and Vision, because Vision's not alive anymore, because he's still dead, and it's a Black Widow film coming up, and she's dead. So, questions?
Or are they? Comics, everyone's alive again. Aww.